Hi, welcome back to Elements in Focus. My name is Aaron Rheaume, Director of Financial Planning. I have the pleasure of having my partner in crime, Grant Soliven, with me today. Grant, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, brother. Highest title honor, by the way, to be your PIC.
It's probably a bad thing to be saying when we're fiduciaries in the financial planning world, but anyways, I've got a good buddy here, Grant Sullivan, recording Elements in Focus with me. As you may be tuning in for the first time or have watched for a lengthy amount of time, Grant and I and some of our other team members like to break down our five critical element process, which you can see on the screen. Today, we're going to specifically talk about your life after work. And this is a question that we get often asked, Grant, is I want to retire, but I don't know if planning for early retirement or having an early retirement may be best for me, or if I can work that into my situation. How do we gauge and answer those questions when someone may want to take an early retirement?
That's a great question, Aaron. And ironically enough, I just had this conversation with a family before we started our discussion today. And here's what
Hmm.
it comes down to: is first and foremost, folks, planning for an early retirement, you have to understand what's available to you. How do the tools work? So we often will have families come in, and because of savings that are triggered that they don't have to think about 401k contributions through payroll deduction, right? The biggest one in our country. They build all these savings and retirement savings up in this 401k account, but then no one tells them, hey, by the way, in order for you to access this, if your plan allows it, the earliest you can get it is age 55. And if your plan doesn't allow it, the earliest you can get these resources is 59 and a half. Well, for some individuals that are looking to have an early retirement, say at age 50, for example, that creates kind of a problem, right? Because now how do we access these funds, right? There's this rule where you can take money out and reoccurring, and they have to be designated, non-changeable distributions. And again, those it gets really complicated, and there's tax provisions we have to follow for that, which we usually don't like to use that strategy because there's a lot of ways it can go sideways. But at the end of the day, the best way to set yourself up for success if you're planning to retire before age 55, or more importantly, age 59 and a half, is to set asset classes up that you can use beforehand. Great, Grant. What are some of those asset classes? Well, we often talk about retirement accounts because the largest assets we have as individuals. But what I'd love to see individuals start doing, and a lot of our families, Aaron, we lead them to this. So if you are one of our families watching this, you're going to hear me hop on it again. It's really a good idea to set up an investment account that is outside of your retirement accounts. So, what we call a traditional brokerage account or a non IRA investment account, because you can put dollars away in there and immediately access them, and you don't have to worry about the time constraints. Okay, Grant, what's the other considerations? Well, first and foremost, we don't get the tax deferral like we would in the IRAs, or tax deductions per se, or even tax free growth like a Roth. But the benefit is we can access those dollars ahead of time. What does that give us? Well, it gives us leverage to buy a business, to have assets to do those things. It gives us leverage to have assets to transition equity. So if we're buying a house and selling another, and there's that bridge we have to play and that gap, instead of paying a or a mortgage company to give you a loan, assets there. And then finally, more importantly, if we're going to retire before our retirement accounts allow us access to funds, we can use these investment accounts without any age penalty. And depending on how we invest those assets, if there's long-term capital gains and qualified dividends, which I totally recommend you look at some of our other EIFs to go over what those are, that's tax preferential distribution. So it's a beautiful way to set up the ability and the availability of funds for yourself to exit the workforce early. And there's a lot of other investment alternatives and opportunities. So, for example, you could pull cost basis out of a Roth IRA. What is that? That's the dollars you've put in over time, right? As you've kind of contributed to your Roth IRAs. Or if you have a Roth 401k, you roll that out of the 401k into a Roth IRA under the current tax code. Good news, it's all basis. And again, tax-free distribution. So there's ways to make this happen. We have to understand, if you're putting retirement savings away or putting savings away in general, first automate it, but then make sure you're building multiple tax diversification buckets for this potential for early retirement. And Aaron, that's the easiest, simplest way I would approach it with what we have today.
Thank you, Grant. And there was a lot to unpack there in a short amount of time. Just a couple clarifications. One mention Grant made is there's a specific rule called the Rule 72T. We're not going to get into details, but Grant made a mention of being able to take money out before age 59 and a half. That's specifically what he's referencing. If you have questions on those, I highly recommend that you reach out to a professional, because those are very, very strict rules that you have to follow. We're not going to get into that in this video today, but if you're considering some of the things Grant talked about, if you're under age 59 and a half and you're thinking about retirement and want to know if that's going to work out for you, please reach out to FEG. You can schedule a complimentary next steps meeting by scanning the QR code on the screen. You can call us at 800-928-4001. One of our team members will be there to answer the phone and get you on an advisor's calendar. You can go to yourlifeafterwork.com, go to our team page, look at all of the advisors that we have on the team, and book with the one that looks the best or one that makes you feel the best. Read our bios. You can book with us. We will schedule a 15-minute just introductory phone call to answer questions, see how we can help you. Or if you just have a specific question and you don't want to talk to us, you can send it to us to talk to FEG at yourlifeafterwork.com. We'd be happy to help you answer any questions you have. Thank you so much for watching Elements in Focus. Have a wonderful day.